Have you ever felt like your company is just stuck, like a hamster on a wheel? You're hitting all your targets, everyone's busy, but the scenery just never, ever changes. Well, we're about to dive into some really powerful insights from David Abbott on why so many businesses get trapped like this and what it really takes to smash through those walls that hold them back. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's just start with a pretty shocking number. Only about 25% of corporate change programs actually succeed. Just let that sink in for a second. For every single success story, there are 3 failures. This tells you it's not just a tough challenge, it's a sign that the way most companies think about change is fundamentally broken from the start.
So how do we actually beat those odds? We're going to lay out a roadmap. First, we'll diagnose the real problems, what we call the silo trap and our own illusion of control. Then we'll flip the script and look at the solution, rethinking what strategy even means and how to find that unreasonable spark that can finally get real change going.
All right, first up, let's talk about the silo trap. This is that bizarre situation in a company where every single department is crushing its goals, everyone's high-fiving, but the company as a whole is slowly becoming completely irrelevant to its customers. How does that happen?
Does any of this sound familiar? You've got the finance team totally obsessed with metrics that have zero to do with what customers actually want. You've got operations running on a system that was perfect for, 10 years ago. People are managed like caged rats chasing cheese, just incentivized to hit their little bonus targets instead of working toward a bigger mission. And marketing? It's just more noise in an already noisy world. It's literally a company at war with itself.
And this quote right here, it gets to the very human core of the problem. When you're stuck in a silo, information isn't just data, it's currency, it's power. So hoarding it feels like the smart thing to do. It feels like self-preservation. And it's so important to get this. This isn't about people being evil. It's about a broken system that actually rewards the exact wrong behavior.
This need to hoard power, to feel in control, it's not just some weird corporate thing. It is deeply, deeply human. It comes from this psychological blind spot we all have, our massively inflated sense of our own importance, and our desperate need to feel like we're in command of our own little corner of the universe.
I mean, just think about it for a second. In the grand scheme of things, we are tiny specks of dust living on a bigger speck of dust, just spinning through an unbelievably vast cosmos. And yet, in our day-to-day jobs, we act like we're the masters of our domain, convinced that everything is under our control. That ego makes it almost impossible to admit that our little piece of the puzzle isn't the whole picture.
So you've got these individual egos, all craving control, and you lock them inside these departmental silos. Well, when you put those two forces together, you basically create a system that is almost perfectly designed to fight off change. The problem isn't just one person saying no. The entire machine is built to keep things exactly the way they are.
And trying to kickstart real, meaningful change in a system like that, it feels exactly like this, trying to move a massive, heavy flywheel. It takes this huge, sustained, exhausting effort just to get it to budge a single inch. And that's why most change initiatives just fizzle out before they ever get any real momentum.
And this resistance, it's not some abstract theory, it's personal. We are all wired for comfort. Our daily routines are familiar. Plus, let's be real, we're all busy, we're all tired. Who has the extra energy for more work, especially when that work feels uncomfortable and scary and uncertain? We picture change as this one giant, terrifying monster, and that makes it really easy to just not even try.
This really highlights the choice we have in how we see change. We can see it as the big leap, this one massive, scary jump that feels so impossible we're paralyzed, or we can adopt the Japanese philosophy of Kaizen. This isn't about one giant leap. It's about making tiny, gradual, continuous improvements. It's the simple discipline of asking, how can we make things just a little bit better today? Okay, so if the big leap is the wrong way to go, what's the right way? The answer, it turns out, starts with a complete mindset shift around the very word strategy. For a minute, just forget all the glossy mission statements and the slogans on the coffee mugs. Real strategy isn't what's written on a poster. According to thinkers like Roger Martin, it's much simpler. It is the sum total of all the little choices and actions that every single person in the organization makes every single day. That's it. That's your strategy.
This just captures that disconnect perfectly, doesn't it? You have the official strategy, that glorious, walk-on-water vision that leadership announces. And then you have the real strategy, which is simply what people are actually doing all day. Your company's true strategy is revealed in what your team does, not in what your slide deck says.
So here's the absolute crucial point.
Real, effective change only happens when you close that gap. When everyone, from the person answering the phones to the CEO, can clearly connect the dots between their daily actions and the company's bigger goals. When people finally see that connection, that's when the flywheel starts to turn.
And that brings us to our final piece of the puzzle, the action plan. How do you actually create the spark that lights this whole thing up? Well, the answer might surprise you. It's not about some massive company-wide program.
It really comes down to the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. Success doesn't come from trying to fix everything at once. It comes from identifying that critical 20% of actions that will actually deliver 80% of the results you want, and then focusing all of your energy right there.
Let's make this super concrete. Take a look at sales. In almost any business, you'll find that a tiny handful of your clients are bringing in a huge chunk of your revenue. In this example, just 4% of the clients are generating 40% of the income. That right there, that is your high leverage point. That is where you focus your effort.
So the path forward becomes surprisingly clear. Step 1, find those few, often counterintuitive actions that are going to make the biggest difference. Step 2, get your team laser-focused on doing only those things. And step 3, this is the most important one, leaders have to lead by doing it themselves. Because your team isn't really listening to what you say, they are watching what you do.
And leading this kind of charge, well, it takes a specific kind of person. As George Bernard Shaw famously put it, the reasonable person just adapts to the world as it is, but the unreasonable one, they insist on trying to adapt the world to their vision. And therefore, all human progress depends on that unreasonable person.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question to chew on. Who is that person in your organization? The one who challenges the status quo, who sees things differently, who asks why? Because if this analysis is right, that person might just be the most important person you need to find, or maybe the person you need to become.